What? Bang!
Whoa! Wrestling podcast. Just when they think they got the answers, I change the question.
Rep screwed rep.
Yeah!
Woo!
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Did he do it? Unbelievable!
Too hot to handle and too cold to hold. And I am Macho King, you savage.
Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty! I said WWE stands for! It's me, Austin! I will never retire!
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you enable the bell so they let you know every time a new episode goes up. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get into storylines, headline PLEs, even build your own corporation from the ground up, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to get to the site, app.wrestlerunstoppable.com will get you there. Look me up. I'm Odin Maximus on the game. Love to have you join. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, want your name in the shout-outs like my good buddy John in Texas. John, love giving you that shout-out. Check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. Don't forget we have loyalty rewards. $15 a month contributors get to co-host an episode with me. $7.50 a month, you get to be entered into a drawing to also co-host an episode of a show with myself. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you've got questions, comments, something you want me to touch on the future episode, make sure that you give us a shout over at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line, 267-642-1160, and we will get to those items in a future episode. Tonight, going to run down some of the daily news and get into Royal Rumble predictions, something that I always look forward to. Perfectly honest with you, Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. Always has been, going all the way back to Hacksaw Jim Duggan winning the first one. I've always thought it was a unique concept. Awesome stuff. And even in the independent wrestling scene, where I'm a huge fan of, 3WA just held their Resolution Rumble this past weekend, and I wish I could have been a part of the show. Unfortunately, the weather would not allow that to permit, but they also picking up on the Royal Rumble concept, and it's awesome. It's influenced the entire industry, and it is something that I think that wrestling fans, hardcore fans who love WWE, look forward to every year, and just waiting to see what is going to happen to put them on the path to the road to WrestleMania. I don't think anybody had Jey Uso winning last year on their bingo card, but it turned out to be a phenomenal run for him for a short period of time. And then it led to where we're at right now, where I think we're heading into some very interesting things between he and Jimmy in the future. But for now, let's get into the conversation of the news for today. We'll get to the predictions at the end. Let's start off with the conversation about Rey Mysterio at Raw. Apparently, the theory is that he potentially got hurt, no pun intended, because Austin Theory's the one who did it, got hurt twice in the match. Once with his ribs coming up after a move from Austin Theory, and another one when he was doing the flip to the outside where he landed wrong and his knee potentially got hurt. If you go to the Wrestling Observer Radio, Brian Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, both confirming that he got injured during the match. They both think he got hurt twice. And he can be seen holding his ribs. And if you watch, there's actually viral video online from a fan cam of him being carried out of the arena with Penta and Dragon Lee and the referees trying to help. We did see the X sign go up from the referee. So definitely had an injury. Does not look like it was a huge issue. Hopefully he'll be back for the Royal Rumble. He is currently, the theory is he would be participating in the match. I'm not sure where you go with Rey right now, because I think there's an opportunity for some things to do with Dominic, but I also see some other, in my opinion, much more exciting things you could be doing with Dominic right now. Not sure where Ray slates into the WrestleMania scene. Maybe there's a Money in the Bank ladder match. That would be something I would love to see him do. I don't think he's ever won one of those. Just a lot of things to consider with Ray, but at least for now, it sounds like the injury was a short thing, a small thing, and hopefully he'll be back and ready for the Rumble this coming weekend. Moving on from there, speaking of the Rumble, it had been previously reported that WWE was not planning a lot of surprises because there was apprehension based on the fact that the flights in would make it too hard to hide Royal Rumble surprises. The report this week says WWE thinks it's going to be easier to keep Royal Rumble surprises this year because they've chartered their own plane and they're flying people in on a chartered flight rather than a commercial flight, which is a lot easier to keep things on the hush-hush, to keep the surprise names out of the public eye. That is the key. We want to make sure that when the numbers are called, that we can have that exciting, natural, real response. Some of the people that they expect to be there, LA Knight returning, Tiffany Stratton, Chad Gable, Brock Lesnar also theorized to be returning. And there's a lot of other ones too. I mean, let's be honest. If we think about it, there's so many people who could theoretically return or debut at this show. There's conversation. I know this week's been a big thing about Evil from New Japan Pro Wrestling. His time with New Japan has come to a close. His real life spouse is in WWE, Kairi Sane, and apparently he's been at the house shows for WWE recently, considered a potential destination to go there, join his wife on the road. And when you think about how much she's done here and how much he's done there, must be difficult for the relationship. This could be the one opportunity he gets to go to the biggest platform in the world to apply your trade and spend time with your significant other. And I think it would be a good get for WWE. It's not like they're up against a lot of competition in the U.S. AEW, apparently Tony Khan has never been a fan of Evil's. Had an opportunity to put him on the Forbidden Door shows for several years and just chose never to use him. Just never, I guess, I'm never a fan of his work. I've never heard any explanation beyond he just isn't a fan. So he could potentially be something. We know that Powerhouse Hobbs is now signed to WWE. That was confirmed earlier in the week. We know that there are other people who we're hoping to see come back. Bianca Belair, Chris Jericho. So there's a lot that could be going on. And that's not even thinking about TNA crossover opportunities. I think Leon Slater's an obvious possibility. Mike Santana's an obvious possibility. Depending on what the schedule is to get people back in time for their AMC episode, which, by the way, this week, Impact viewership, 171,000 viewers last week. The debut episode, 173,000. Now, I get it. That's a drop-off. But with the horrific response that they got from the first episode, you expected a much bigger drop-off. This is actually pretty in line with a pretty solid episode. And if they can grow the audience, and that's the big if they can grow the audience, this has an opportunity to really help them grow their brand back to the fame it had back in the early mid-2000s when, you know, their roster was stacked. And right now, I get it. The mainstream wrestling fan who's not the diehard, if you're tuning into this podcast, you're a diehard. You guys all know all about TNA wrestling. You know many of the talents there, but there's a lot of the mainstream people don't know who they are. So when you see somebody like Trey Miguel, who was there with the Rascals, left when the contracts were up, went to AEW, was released a week later, shows back up at TNA last week, and participates in and gets one of the briefcases for the Feast or Fired match. For us, that's awesome because we know exactly who he is. We know his history. We know all about that. For a lot of the mainstream people, they see him walk out and they're like, yeah, okay, who's this guy? You know, it doesn't hit the same way. For TNA to be long-term successful, they have to do something that AEW did very, very well. When AEW kicked off, Sammy Guevara was not a big name. People like MJF, solid name on the indies, MLW, places like that, but not in the mainstream press. A lot of the talents that started, even if you want to talk about it, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, all that type of stuff, yes, big in the wrestling world, but not the mainstream world. Tony Khan took a chance on some of those smaller talents that people didn't know, and he grew his brand. I would argue, as I was watching Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer go back and forth this week about it, that many people in AEW over the last 6 years or so have kind of gotten stagnant. I saw them make a comment about, right now MJF is the world champion. He's a multi-time champion. There are only like 3 guys who are legitimate challengers right now. You got Hangman Page, who's a multi-time champion, Swerve, who's been champion, Joe's been multi-time champion, and that's really the only believable people to win the championship from MJF. Kyle Fletcher, you would have thought would be in that position, but now they've relegated him back to going after Jay Briscoe, or Mark Briscoe, I apologize. So nobody really getting elevated there, even though there's potential for it to happen. The Outrunners tag team, they let them rise to a certain level and then they killed them off. Even when you go back to, Scissor Me Daddy, like when the Acclaimed were running things, they broke the team up. It's almost TNA level booking. It's terrible. And I don't see a lot of growth there, but hopefully at some point, TNA follows suit with the early AEW approach, grows their own homegrown talent so that people get familiar with them, can generate interest in them. Great to see Ash by Elegance back. Everybody was worried about her and what the physical situation was. Thankfully, she's back and can participate. They've got some really exciting buzz going on coming out of week 2. Hopefully, they follow through the next week. But then again, like I said, that ties into the Royal Rumble. Who could they possibly be sending from TNA to participate? Steve Macklin, the international champion. He's an NXT guy, has a TNA championship going on a main roster show. I think that'd be pretty interesting. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But let's do exactly why we're here. Let's get to the Royal Rumble. And let's be honest, I'm a little disappointed there's only 4 matches on the card. I think it's disrespectful to women. I get it, you're in Saudi Arabia, but you got a 30 women Rumble match. There's no reason you couldn't have had a women's championship match here. Jade Cargill's defended her belt like once in 4 months. So I think that she's long overdue. And I get it. Maybe she's still a little green. Doesn't matter. If you're going to put the belt on her, you have to showcase her. Same thing with Stephanie Vaquer. She's in a program right now with Raquel Rodriguez. That match should have taken place at the Rumble before their actual women's Rumble. And that way, if Raquel didn't win, she could go into the Rumble. I actually suspect she might be the one who dethrones Stephanie Vaquer and then heads to Mania to face Liv if Liv wins the Rumble. Let's get into some of the predictions. AJ Styles versus Gunther. As an AJ fanatic, my first AJ Styles t-shirt was his first year in TNA wrestling. All black with blue stuff. He still had headgear on in one of the pictures on the t-shirt. I am not ready to say goodbye to AJ Styles. He is one of my favorite wrestlers all time. He's just a genuinely good dude. If you meet him in person, he's amazing. I don't want to see this be the end of his career, but when I look at all the relevant factors, I think they could easily do a schmaz ending and come out where Gunther still looks strong and AJ doesn't have to retire. But the word is his contract runs out before WrestleMania. What bigger stage are you going to have than this for him to go out on? I get it. There's people who are upset to think that he shouldn't be going out in his last match as a professional wrestler in Saudi Arabia or something like that. It is what it is. It's a massive payday. It is a huge emotional moment. I will shed tears of sadness to see him go if he loses. But let's be honest. I mean, the word is, and we saw there was a tweet put out, and it was later deleted by Shinsuke Nakamura after their phenomenal, no pun intended, match on SmackDown, I'm sorry, at Saturday Night's Main Event, which, by the way, in my opinion, early prediction is going to be one of the matches of the year. Despite the fact that they had that, Nakamura puts out online that AJ's been planning the Royal Rumble as his final appearance for a year now. So all things point to Gunther winning this match. And here's my thing. I can't get emotional about this. I got to be honest. I'm going with what my gut's telling me. Gunther wins and ends AJ Styles' career. Now, unlike John Cena and Goldberg, both of those people announced that it was their last match. So he's not retiring all these people. He is the last person in their career. This would be the first one where he retires somebody. I do think he'll pull double duty and be in the Rumble as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing him have a face-to-face with Brock Lesnar at some point, setting that matchup, or with Obafemi. Or Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. One of those combinations, I don't want to see a three-way, one of those combinations has to happen, and I'm hoping it's Gunther and Brock. So my prediction officially, Gunther defeats AJ Styles and ends his career, even though I so badly don't want that. Moving on to the WWE Championship match, I'm actually frustrated that this match is taking place because I do not see a way for Sami Zayn to defeat Drew McIntyre. There is no possibility in my mind for him to win the match. And the problem with that is I need to see Sami Zayn win the World Championship, the WWE Championship. It has to happen. It has to happen soon. We've been riding this coattails of this storyline for over a year at this point. It is time to give him his chance. Let him run with that title. You can't ask for bigger responses than when he comes out. It would be a beautiful, beautiful moment. But McIntyre just won a championship and clearly is headed towards a three-way with Cody and Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. Or before. I still think it's going to be Mania. Maybe they do that at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe Cody wins the championship back at the Chamber, and then Roman wins the Rumble, and they face off, and they do get back to that storyline. I don't know. I don't like that idea either. I'm just throwing out possibilities. But I have to make a prediction here. And the prediction, in my opinion, Lock, stock, and barrel, Drew McIntyre retains the championship, even though I'm dying to see Sami Zayn win the championship. In the Women's Royal Rumble, look, online, they have their favorites out there. Bianca Belair is one of the top seeds, as is Liv Morgan. Both have the highest odds, according to betting sites, to win the Rumble. And here's the thing. I could see reasons for both. Obviously, if you go with Bianca, you could still do the thing with her and Jade that you kind of were flirting with last year. I actually think Bianca should lose, and then she should win the Chamber, because that match is a brutal display of power and fortitude, and I think that plays more to Bianca's character. It plays more to her reputation. I think that would be a better role for her. I don't think she wins here. Liv Morgan makes a lot of sense to me. There are so many talented women on the roster who I think really deserve that opportunity. Now, look, it's easier to say who's not going to win, right? It can't be Charlotte or Alexa, because they have to have their own thing. It can't be AJ Lee, who I think will be in the Rumble, or Becky Lynch, because I think they have to have their own program for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So you could start eliminating people. Bayley's not in position. Lyra's not in position. The rest of Judgment Day, other than Liv Morgan, nowhere near that level of the card. So you start thinking about, it's like, well, who is at the level? Rhea Ripley? Possibly. Io? Possibly. Asuka? Not a chance. Kairi Sane, not a chance. So, you know what I mean? Like, so it gets, you start really, I would love to see Chelsea Green win it. It won't happen. There's no chance. They haven't strategically placed them in a position for that to be the case. So, with only 17 women's names being announced so far, that's 13 open slots. So, who knows who else is going to be in there? Could we see a Brie Bella? Obviously, a Nikki Bella. Could we see a Trish Stratus? You start thinking about who the surprises could be for this. We've even seen that Paige, Saraya, whatever you want to call her, has been working out and working some indie shows to get back in ring shape. Very, very well possible that she could be there. She won't win it, but she could be in it. So I have to make a prediction. I hate that I'm going to do this. I'm going to go with the numbers based on process of elimination and who is at the level to main event WrestleMania. And I'm going with Liv Morgan. She's going to be my prediction to win the Women's Rumble. And the Men's Rumble. Probably the most star-studded men's rumble in recent memory, with the Romans and the Codys. It is missing Seth, which I think would put it over the top. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Oba Femi. There are 15 talents already announced. So we have Cody Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Penta, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, and Oba Femi. I would love to see Oba Femi, but he's not high enough on the card to main event WrestleMania yet. I'd love to see somebody like Braun Breaker, but I think there's a possibility he does it through a different means. I think he's not going to win the Rumble. I think he may win the Chamber and set up against CM Punk. Roman Reigns is the favorite right now to win, which makes a lot of sense, and I could easily see a Roman versus Punk match. I think that would be exciting. And when you look at the other people, I cannot see Cody winning again. 3 times in 4 years would be just too much. Gunther, possibility, but again, I'd like to see him wrestling against Brock Lesnar. Jey Uso, not a chance. Rey Mysterio, not a chance. Dragon Lee, not a chance. Penta, not a chance. So when you start, again, process of elimination, you get down to Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns, and you got to go with one or the other. So, oh man, I'm going to go with the one that I think sets up the match that I'd like to see the most, even though I'm more excited about the other one. So let me explain. I want to see Braun Breaker as World Heavyweight Champion. I really do. I love Braun Breaker. He is phenomenal. He's an incredible talent. He's somebody I think is easily, he and Jacob Fatu are the future of the business for WWE, at least in the short term. And I'd love to see those two have a moment in the Rumble, but I almost think that's where we go. If we do the thing where we have Braun and Jacob get into it, we could easily have somebody eliminate both of them, setting up a program for the two of them at Mania. I don't want to see that, but I'm okay seeing it if Roman Reigns is the one who does it, wins, and he goes on to face CM Punk. That makes a lot of sense to me, so it postpones Braun Breaker's ascension to the championship, because I think Braun Breaker should defeat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam for that championship. That's my perspective on it. So, my official prediction, Roman Reigns wins the WWE Royal Rumble 2026 because he's going to face CM Punk at WrestleMania. That's my prediction. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. Run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks as always out to Suno for creating the music and sound effects we use in the show. Today's show sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bring a new friend to family game night. It's easy with Sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to thegamecrafter.com and picking up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, you're considering college or university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our website at frolifeplanning.com. For all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. While you're at it, check out my latest book, Frobble Path Apparel, Part 3 of my series. It is out now. It is available on Amazon and all major book retailers. Check out Book 1, Book 2, or Book 3. Grab all three. It would be a great way to support the channel and support what I do. I hope you enjoy them. If you have read one of the books previously, this one follows along with the story and keeps the adventure going. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking some time with us tonight. Until next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night.